Every year, there are over 600,000 missing. Thankfully, most will turn up. Others will tragically be found dead, and some vanish without a trace. There have been some strange occurrences happening, almost a pattern, if you will. A pattern of young men getting in car accidents and then seemingly disappearing. Are these the cases of traumatic brain injury resulting from these accidents? Or is there something far more sinister at play? These are their stories. Number 1, Bradley Ross. There's not a whole lot out there on this case. Born August 15th, 1979, he was 25 years old when he went missing following a car accident in Fort Wayne, Indiana on November 19th, 2004. He was driving his fiance's 2004 Dodge Stratus, and he was supposed to be picking her up at work. He never made it. That car was later located at the corner of Coliseum Boulevard and State Boulevard in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It is unknown if Brad was driving the vehicle at the time of the accident. Witnesses stated seeing a male subject running from the vehicle. Bradley Ross is a Caucasian male, brown hair, blue eyes, his front tooth is chipped, and his left ear is pierced. Ross has a round burn scar on his wrist, a tattoo of a tribal band around his right bicep, and a surgical scar inside of his ankle. Brad is a male with brown hair, blue eyes. If you have any information of the whereabouts of Bradley Ross, you are urged to contact Fort Wayne Police Department at 260-427-1202. Number 2, 19-year-old Brandon Swanson. Brandon drove his car into a ditch on his way home after celebrating the end of the spring semester with his friends from Minnesota West Community and Technical College, Canby campus. He told his parents to pick him up as he believed Brandon was near Lind. They drove out to pick him up, however, they could not locate him. Brandon Swanson had his last phone call with his parents. According to the sources, Brandon called his parents to pick him up, where he mentioned he had driven his Chevy Lumina off the road and into a ditch from which he could not remove the car. In the phone call, Brandon was not hurt and asked them to come where he was. But shortly after 2:30 a.m., after 47 minutes on the call, Brandon suddenly stopped himself on the phone and said, "Oh shit," after which he has not been in contact with anyone since. Brandon Swanson is 5'5", a Caucasian male, brown hair, blue eyes, last seen in Canby, Minnesota. His car was located near Tooten, Minnesota. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Brandon Swanson, you are urged to call Lincoln County Sheriff's Department at 1507-694-1664 or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. That is 1-800-843-5678. Number 3, Shane Fell. Missing from Mariel, Louisiana, Shane is a Caucasian male. He was born October 9th, 1974, so he was 36 years old at the time of his disappearance. He would be 47 years old today. His height is approximately 6 foot to 6'2", between 190 and 210 pounds. Shane has blonde hair and hazel eyes. On June 10th, 2011, he was driving his car on River Road between Mariel Road and Klein Road when he lost control of his vehicle, flipped it, and landed in a small ditch. Fell was able to climb out the passenger window, and he answered a cellular phone call from his brother shortly thereafter. During the conversation, he sounded alert and coherent. His brother and the police arrived at the scene of the accident within 20 minutes, but by then, Fell was gone. Leaving one of his shoes behind, he has never been heard from again. Fell studied jewelry and metalwork at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. He lived in Harvey, Louisiana, and was employed as a senior technical advisor for Verifone at the time of his disappearance. His family believes he might have suffered memory loss and tried to return to the Savannah, Georgia area, where he had lived for several years before coming back to his home state of Louisiana. The circumstances of his disappearance are unclear. He may have no memory as to who he is. He may be even living on the streets today. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Shane Fell, you are asked to call the JPSO at 504-354-5300 or Brett at 504-382-1334.
Number 4. Brandon Lawson.
On August 8, 2013, Brandon Lawson arrived at his home in San Angelo, Texas, where he lived with his girlfriend of 10 years, LaDessa Lofton. Between approximately 10:45 and 11 p.m., Lawson and Lofton argued. Lawson had not returned home from the night before, and Lofton believed that Lawson was on drugs at the time. Lawson had an ongoing issue with substance abuse, but had been clean for about 6 months. Lawson's brother Kyle Lawson later claimed that Brandon had taken methamphetamines shortly before his disappearance. Around 11:30 p.m., Brandon Lawson called his father in Crowley, Texas, about a 3-hour drive from San Angelo, and told him he was coming to his house. At 11:54 p.m., Lawson left his house to go to his father's, driving his silver Ford F-150. At about 12:30 a.m. on August 9th, Lawson called Kyle and told him he had run out of gas and was pulled over on U.S. Route 277 between San Angelo and Brant, Texas. Kyle claimed that during the call, Lawson told him that 3 expletives are chasing me out of town, and later clarified it was the Mexicans in the neighborhood. Kyle asked if he was hallucinating, which Lawson denied. Kyle, along with his wife and 4-year-old child, drove to Lofton's house and retrieved a fuel container. Kyle said they continued to make calls to each other, but Lawson wouldn't hold a conversation with him, usually ending the call after a few sentences. At 12:50 a.m., Lawson called 911, which rang at the local nursing home in Robert Lee, Texas, and he told the responder that he had ran out of gas and he needed the police. During the call, Lawson made several confused or incoherent statements, including, "Yes, I'm in the middle of a field. Pulled some guys over. Right here going towards Alabine on both sides, and my truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. The guy's chasing to the woods. Please hurry." Several minutes later at 12:56 a.m., a trucker called 911 to report Lawson's truck, which was parked in a hazardous manner on the road. Between 12:50 a.m. and 1:15 a.m., Lawson received and made several calls with his brother, his girlfriend, his neighbor, and the 911 dispatcher. Though his poor cell phone reception caused several of these calls to go straight to voicemail, and after 1:19 a.m., all calls to his phone went straight to voicemail. At around 1:18 a.m., Kyle called Lawson, who sounded out of breath and claimed he was bleeding. Shortly after 1 a.m., a sheriff deputy arrived at Lawson's truck, though Lawson wasn't there. Kyle arrived at the truck around 1:10 a.m. At the time, he was on the phone with Lawson, who told him, "I can see you. I'm right here." But neither the deputy nor Kyle could see him. At the time of his disappearance, Lawson had an active arrest warrant on him, and Kyle thought that he may have been just hiding from the deputy. After talking to the officer, Kyle drove a short distance up the road and parked the car to wait for Lawson to appear. Though after about 30 to 45 minutes he left. Kyle left the gas can in the back of Lawson's truck and later returned to the truck around 5 a.m., where he was surprised that Lawson had not returned. Around 8 a.m., the truck was towed, and no one has heard from him since. In the aftermath of his disappearance, a local deputy organized a search party and spent several hours investigating the area near Lawson's truck, but found no signs of Lawson. On February 4th, 2022, Brandon's family reported on the Help Find Brandon Lawson's Facebook page that a search party had located clothing identified as Brandon's near his last known location, and that the Texas Rangers had subsequently conducted a search of the area and found human remains. DNA results are not complete as of February 4th, 2022, but the remains are expected to belong to Brandon. Brandon Lawson left behind 3 children. If you have any information on Brandon Lawson's case, please contact the Hope County Sheriff's Office at 325-453-2717 or the Texas Department of Public Safety at 512-424-5074, case number M1308005. I will finish this off with the 911 call that came the night that Brandon Lawson disappeared.
9/2013, 0:50 and 38 seconds. 911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. We're just pushing guys over. Right here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. Got chasing to the woods. Please hurry.
Okay, now run that by me.
I'm not talking to him. I actually ran into him.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
Got the first guy.
Do you need an ambulance?
Yeah, no, I need the cops.
Okay. Is anybody hurt? Hello? 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 9/2013, 0:50 and 38 seconds. 911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. We're just pushing guys over. Right here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. Got chasing to the woods. Please hurry.
Okay, now run that by me.
We're not talking to him. I actually ran into him.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
Got the first guy.
Do you need an ambulance?
Yeah, no, I need the cops.
Okay. Is anybody hurt? Hello?
Brandon was 26 at the time of his disappearance in 2013. He is a Caucasian male, 5'9", 230 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes, pierced ears, scar above left knee and chin, multiple tattoos, and last seen on Highway 227 near Brant, Texas. Brandon Lawson disappeared August 9th, 2013 out of Texas, and that brings us to our next missing case.
Number 5, BRYCE Laspisa.
Brad, who went missing August 30th, 2013 from Castaic, California. Bryce was 19 at the time of his disappearance. Bryce David Laspisa was born on April 30th, 1994. Bryce was an only child and was raised in the Chicago suburbs in Illinois. Bryce graduated from Naperville Central High School in 2012, and when his parents retired, the family moved to Laguna Niguel, California. Bryce was studying graphic and industrial design at Sierra College in Northern California. On August 27, 2013, Bryce Laspisa broke up with his girlfriend Kim by sending her a text message stating she'd be better off without him. She recalled his behavior as being strange and unwell that night. He had also given away his personal belongings to friends, including diamond earrings he had gotten from his mother and his gaming console. On August 28, 2013, shortly before 11:30 p.m., Bryce left Kim's apartment in the city of Chico and was assumed to be driving back home to college. Around midnight on August 29, 2013, his parents were notified by their credit card company that a card in their name had been used for roadside service in Buttonwillow, California, located off the Interstate 5. Bryce was believed to be driving back to visit his family's home in Laguna Niguel, California, which was 3.5 hours from Buttonwillow. Growing concerned over her son's well-being after he never made it to their home, Bryce's mother called the Orange County Sheriff's Department around 6 p.m. They found him 8 miles away from the location where he had been serviced for gas. Buttonwillow, Kern County. Bryce passed a sobriety test and reluctantly called his mother, reassuring her he was coming back soon. On August 30th, 2013, his mother received a call from Bryce shortly before 2:08 a.m. He told his mother that he was too tired to drive and that he was going to pull over for the night. This was the last time Bryce was heard from. 3 hours later, at approximately 5:30 a.m., his 2003 beige Toyota Highlander SUV was found abandoned at the bottom of a 15-foot ravine off Lake Hughes Road near Castaic Lake. A caller reported the vehicle to the California Highway Patrol, who then notified Bryce's parents at their home in Laguna Niguel. The vehicle was overturned on the side of the main ramp road about 100 feet from Lake Hughes Road, with the rear windshield broken out and some blood found inside. Bryce's personal belongings, including his ID, cell phone, wallet, and laptop computer, were left behind in the car, but he was nowhere to be found. With no body found at the car crash scene, authorities believe BRYCE Laspisa walked away from the accident. Search dogs later picked up a scent trail leading away from the lake on the west side towards a truck stop on Castaic Road, 9 days after Bryce went missing. The police search for BRYCE Laspisa uncovered several erratic behaviors that indicate he may have been experiencing a crisis upon returning to college for his sophomore year. Police found no evidence, means, or motive of foul play in Bryce's disappearance. There was also no indication that he died by suicide, as his body was never found at the lake where his car was abandoned. A $5,000 reward is being offered by the family for any information leading to the safe return of their son Bryce. The circumstances of BRYCE Laspisa's disappearing remains unclear, and his case is currently classified as missing. His case remains unsolved. Bryce is a Caucasian male born on April 30th, 1994, with red hair and green eyes. He is 5'11" and weighs 170 pounds. His ears are pierced, and he has a tattoo of a Taurus bull head on his left shoulder. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Bryce Laspisa, please contact the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office at 323-890-5500 or call the family's tip line at 949-292-4400. Number 6. Steven Keith Roberson. Steven is a Caucasian male, brown hair, hazel eyes. Roberson may go by his middle name, Keith, or the nickname Dirty. His left earlobe is split, except for his face, head, and neck. His entire body is covered in tattoos, including 2 women's heads on his chest. The phrase, prepared for the worst, praying for the best, on his collarbone, an eagle with wings on the right side of his torso, the phrase, like father, on the left side of his torso, a drawing of the actress Marilyn Monroe on his back, a ship's anchor on the inside of his left arm, a dove on his right forearm, a ribbon around a cross on his right arm, the phrase snitches get stitches on his left leg, and skulls on his right leg. A photo of some of his tattoos is posted with this case. Roberson is colorblind. Steven Keith Roberson was born on August 17, 1992, which made him 26 at the time of his disappearance. Roberson was last seen outside Sonora, Texas on September 5, 2018. Few details are available in this case. At 9:39 p.m. September 5th, Keith was involved in a two-vehicle crash in Sutton County. The vehicle was driven by Keith across the center median, went into the air, and hit a second vehicle. According to a DPS crash report, both vehicles spun several times, and the driver of the second vehicle was injured. Keith was suspected of fleeing the crash, which was the last time anyone saw him, Sharmon said. My son is not the kind of person who would have walked away, she said. I think he made a split-second decision and he was in shock. On September 7, 2018, Sharmon's friends and family rushed to the crash site near mile marker 417 on the 110 near Sonora. Keith's wallet and laptop were left inside the vehicle. In 2018, his mother received a call that her son, 26, went missing after a wreck near Sonora. Since then, she was combed through West Texas, received ransom scams, and now fears her son may be dead. Despite this, she is determined to find him or his remains. Anyone who has information about the disappearance of Steven Keith Roberson can reach out to the Texas Department of Public Safety. Hendricks suggested anyone with any information reach out to their local law enforcement or DPS. Reports can be made by the department at iwatchTX.org/index.html or 844-643-2251. His mother is offering a $15,000 reward to anyone who can bring Keith to her. People can contact Sharmon at 903-390-0181 or SHARMONROBERSON@gmail.com.
Number 7. Jason Landry.
Jason Landry was a 21-year-old student at Texas State University, who by all appearances was an intelligent, outgoing, and well-liked guy. He seemed to have had no personal problems and was a well-adjusted, bright young man who seemed to have his whole future ahead of him. On December 13, 2020, Landry headed out his car, headed towards his parents' home in Missouri City, Texas, a suburb of Houston. In order to visit for Christmas, he would never make it and would go on to become one of the biggest unsolved mysteries the area has ever seen. When his worried family contacted authorities, they were able to locate his car that crashed and abandoned after hitting two trees, a barbed wire fence on the isolated Salt Flat Road in Luling, Texas, about 30 minutes away from his school in San Marcos and 140 miles west of Houston. There was no signs of the missing man, and the car was found to have the interior light on, the keys in the ignition, the front passenger side door locked, and his wallet and cell phone were also still in the vehicle, which seems to be a reoccurring trend with these cases. About 900 feet away was found Landry's backpack, which contained toiletries, a baseball cap, laptop, computer, a small amount of marijuana, and oddly, a dead betta fish in a tumbler. Further down the road were found scattered about some of his clothing, including a shirt, shorts, underwear, and a wristwatch. Although why they had been removed and ended up there is still a mystery, especially since it was estimated to have been quite cold that evening, between 36 and 43 degrees Fahrenheit. Police are fairly sure that Landry had been wearing these articles of clothing beforehand and have determined they were calmly removed without stress or duress. So why did he just calmly take off the clothes and leave them there? Investigators also found a very small amount of blood on the shorts, from a minor injury, possibly occurred from running through the barbed wire. No blood was found in the car itself or on any of the clothing. Landry's father, Kent Landry, thinks he may have removed his clothes in a state of delirium after hitting his head in the accident. Some of the most promising clues came from Landry's cell phone data, from which police were able to piece together Landry's last known movements. They found that he had been using a mapping application called Waze Up until he crossed the intersection right after entering Luling, after which he switched to Snapchat, and then rather mysteriously, his digital footprint stopped altogether about 67 minutes before his car is believed to have crashed. Even though the phone was powered on at the time, what happened in those 67 minutes and why he did not use the phone in that time remains a mystery. But it is thought to be the key to cracking the case. There is a $10,000 reward for any information regarding his disappearance. Jason Landry's date of birth is July 29, 1999. He was 21 years old at that time. He is a Caucasian male. He went missing from Caldwell County, Texas. He has brown hair, brown eyes, 6'1", approximately 170 pounds. If you have any information regarding the whereabouts of Jason Landry, you are urged to contact Caldwell County Sheriff's Office at 512-398-6777, extension 4516.
Number 8, Nathan Heathcote.
On Tuesday, January 12th, Heathcote was driving on FM 1409 to visit a friend, where his vehicle left the road and crashed into a ditch in the 8700 block of FM 1409 around 4 a.m. Deputies responded to the scene due to an abandoned vehicle call, but by the time they arrived, Heathcote was gone. Family members say he hasn't been seen since. Investigators believe Heathcote may have been injured in the crash. Across the street from the crash site, security cameras at the ESD No. 3 Volunteer Fire Department captured Heathcote walking away from his vehicle towards a convenience store, where he spent a few moments before walking southward on FM 1409. His body was found along the Trinity River tributary, not far from the end of the private road 442. The area is swampy and difficult to reach by vehicle, so sheriff investigators had to reach him on foot. The autopsy claims the cause of the death has been ruled a drowning. Evidently, Mr. Heathcote's body was submerged in small tributary off the Trinity River, and when the water subsided, the body was left on the bank of the tributary, where he was later found. According to a statement from Captain Ken DeFore, a spokesperson for the Liberty County Sheriff's Office, I share the story as another conclusion as to what could possibly be happening in all these cases surrounding car accidents. If you believe that they are in fact accidents, could these men be succumbing to their deaths from injury due to these accidents themselves? Or is there something far more sinister at play here?
Number 9, Daniel Robinson.
Daniel Robinson is a 24-year-old black male, 5'8", 165 pounds, black hair, brown eyes, was last seen on June 23, 2021 at approximately 9:15. He was last seen leaving his work site in the area of Sun Valley Parkway and Cactus Road in Buckeye, Arizona. The Buckeye police paint a story that leads one to think possibly Daniel was dealing with some mental issues, including depression or a young man who had been scorned and chose to walk away. However, Daniel's father, David, states he doesn't recognize any of those theories as to fitting his go-getter son. He states his trust for the police withered away even more when they found Daniel's 2017 light blue Jeep Renegade, which was found by a local rancher 3 miles away from his work site. Next to it appeared to be his clothes on the ground, and again, I will say, Daniel's wallet and phone was found inside the vehicle. The family hired a private investigator, Jeff McGrath, a former cop and vehicular crimes investigator. McGrath stated the photo of the vehicle struck me as odd immediately because the damage found on the car did not match the location where the vehicle was found, in a desert ravine. According to the police report, the vehicle has significant damage with a frontal impact that caused it to roll. The front window was shattered and there was substantial damage to the lower front as well as the windshield and the roof. But McGrath was skeptical of the row theory. He was able to obtain the vehicle's black box, which showed the vehicle was going 30 miles per hour before the airbags deployed. That sent up alarm bells for the PI, who used his own vehicle to see if that speed was possible in the rugged terrain. His experiment indicated that it was not. Also, the car had traveled 11 miles after the airbags were deployed. It just raises my suspicion, even further, that this vehicle, whether it was by Daniel or somebody else, was crashed somewhere else. Police have disputed these findings. Since his disappearance, they have found at least 4 other human remains during their search. Police are confident that they are not those of Daniel Robinson's. In 2015, Robinson graduated from AC Flora High School in Columbus, South Carolina. He later enrolled at a college of Charleston, where he played multiple musical instruments, football, and joined a fraternity. In 2019, Robinson graduated from college with a major in geology. He moved to Phoenix, Arizona, where he was employed as a hydrologist by Matrix New World Engineering. He often traveled long distance to oversee sites in remote desert areas. At the time of his disappearance, Robinson was single and lived in the Tempe, a city east of Phoenix, Arizona. Described as friendly and passionate about adventure, Robinson was said to always see the bright side of things, despite having been born without a right hand. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Daniel Robinson, please contact the Buckeye Police Department non-emergency phone number at 623-349-6400.
Number 10. DUSTIN HAISLIP.
Missing since January 19, 2022 from DeSoto County, Mississippi. Dustin's vehicle was found just before 1 p.m. Wednesday, January 19, at Baker Road and Moore in Lake Cormorant. He was reportedly last seen walking near Star Landing and Baldwin in a short time later. HAISLIP's grandmother, Mary Mitchell of Byhalia, told the DeSoto Times-Tribune that her grandson struck a tree with his vehicle and likely wandered off from the scene on Wednesday. Dustin is described as a white male, blonde hair, 5'6", 125 pounds, last seen wearing a tan Carhartt coat, work boots, and a hat. It is stated that Dustin did have active warrants at the time of the accident. The DeSoto County Sheriff's Department Search and Rescue Division is continuing ground, water, and air searches in the area. The family is concerned for his well-being, so if you have seen Dustin HAISLIP or know of his whereabouts, please call the DCSD at 662-469-8027.
Number 11. Thomas Tommy Howe.
And the latest of these men going mysteriously missing after car accidents is that of Thomas Tommy Howe, missing from Lake County, Illinois since Saturday, January 22nd, 2022. Tommy is a 24-year-old Illinois man who hasn't been seen since walking away from a car crash last month in Lake County. Police said Howe was involved in a crash on Interstate 94 on January 22, 2022, where a witness said he crossed traffic lanes on foot and was heading to the Old School Forest Preserve near Libertyville. Howe was wearing jeans and a gray North Face hoodie. That day, he had planned to have lunch with his parents. Unfortunately, he would never make it. As his vehicle hit a guardrail and ricocheted off the guardrail and hit another two cars, all the cars involved in the accident, including Tommy, pulled into the median and stopped. One woman who had kids in the car was making sure they were safe before she exited her vehicle. The other driver said Tommy got out of their cars. But instead of exchanging information with the driver, Tommy walked towards a forest preserve and disappeared into the trees. And that was the last that anyone has seen Tommy Howe. The family fears Tommy is hurt and possibly sustained a head injury during the accident. Tommy is a Caucasian male, 24 years of age, 5'8", brown eyes, brown hair, last seen January 22nd, 2022 on Highway 94, mile marker 16, 3/4 traveling on foot in a gray North Face and jeans. There is now a $10,000 reward for any information leading to the whereabouts on Thomas Howe. If you have any information in this case, you are urged to call Antioch Police at 847-270-9111. His family states
He just kind of vanished without a trace.
I have an update in regards to Tommy Howe. He was found February 14th. The paper writes, his body was recovered shortly before 2 p.m. Tuesday from the Des Plaines River near Libertyville after an alert kayaker spotted a jacket along the shoreline on Friday that matches the description of Howe's gray North Face jacket, according to the Antioch communication specialist Jim Morin.
these last 11 cases do seem to be surrounded by bizarre events. Is there a pattern here to be shown? And if so, what pattern? Is this the work of some crazed maniac serial killer, possibly dismantling the vehicles before they're ever occupied by our unsuspected victims? Or are these just crimes of opportunity? How would one know as the exact location of each of our missing men? To say one man or group is committing all these crimes is a reach. A group, though, perhaps a ring of such. Probably another unlikely theory. The authorities use a lot of the same rhetoric with these cases. We hear mentally unstable, depressed, anxiety, possibly running from life's problems, suicide. That could definitely be the culprit in some of these cases. Maybe each case has its own individuality. Some may be running from criminal responsibilities, others succumbed to their mental breakdown, and others succumbed to internal injuries. And their instincts took over, and that is why they wandered away. But eventually the injuries were just too much, and now they are no longer with us, but just haven't been found yet. The cases where their clothes have been taken off remind me of a paradoxical undressing and makes me wonder what injuries were going on inside their bodies, leaving behind personal everyday belongings such as keys, wallets, phones, computers. On November 13th, a Mooresville man went missing after a car accident. He was gone for weeks, and then at 10 p.m., out of nowhere, he walks in the front door, repeating he was just looking for his phone. So it is easy to get swept up in some conspiracy, especially when such things keep happening more and more. But I have to lean more on the side of eternal injuries in most of these bizarre cases. I do have a few women who are missing from these same circumstances, and I will be covering their cases as well. And that will be next on
Vanish without a trace.